If you can reduce meetings, right, you're going to save all that money, and it has very meaningful impacts on the sort of outcomes that you as a manager, as a team player, as an employee care about. If you reduce meetings by 20%, that's going to have positive impacts on autonomy, satisfaction, productivity. And then you can see the only bars that go down are stress and people's sense of micromanaging. Really, the sweet spot where you start getting benefits is this 20 to 40%. You don't have to get rid of all meetings. The curve really flattens out. What can you do to decrease meetings altogether, even of the meetings that you continue to have? How do you make those ones more effective? And then as they get more effective, right, you can trim them down. You can trim down their cadence, you can trim down the time. And so that's what this is focused on. If you really need a discussion, you need a lot of input, you need people to react in real time, and you are focused, you have an agenda, it's not just like, I'm a little lonely and I kind of want to chat to people, then you can schedule a meeting. And then once you have a meeting and in the process of thinking about what the objective is, you can be really thoughtful about who you're inviting and should you switch people to optional. So we have some sort of guidelines here for the right size, given different intentions, different goals for a meeting. Sometimes you do need everybody there, but if you don't invite them or switch them to optional. The agenda is going to be the foundation for everything you do. You can call back to it. You can refer to it. It really will support you in driving and corralling your attendees, because you can say like, not on my agenda. We got to move on. Ideally, it's a question and answer format. What are you trying to do? And then what does it look like to accomplish that? So for instance, discuss the new product, discuss the product launch. That's too big. It's too open. People are going to come in with a lot of different ideas of what that discussion needs to cover. So you want to say instead, what do we need to do to ensure that it's a success? And once we understand that that's the particular version of the launch that we're talking about, then it's clear, oh, well, to make sure it's a success, we need to like figure out what we're delivering and what that timeline is. And so then you know what's that decision we're trying to get to. One thing that we see consistently with meetings is you have them and then you have them again. You have that same meeting, that same decision, that same conversation over and over. And partly it's because there's no documentation of it, or there's no way for the right people to get to it. And so thinking about not just how do you prepare for the meeting, but then how do you ensure that people know about it? This is another way that you can drop people off meetings, is if they can trust that the notes will be there. Sometimes you attend a meeting that you don't really have to go to because you know there's no other way for you to get that information. They're not going to put it out. Put it on your calendar. Immediately after the meeting, wherever possible, trying to build in buffer so that you have a few minutes after a meeting to go through your notes, organize them, go ahead, send them out, get rid of it. Get it off your plate is really ideal. You need to make the meetings, make your emails, make this follow-up really clear. Think about making it salient. Think about making it designed for people who are busy, getting hundreds of emails a day, sitting in meetings all day long. Format the output in a way that makes it really clear who's doing it, what that due date is. This gives a bit of shared responsibility as well. You have to think about what you want people to be doing and what have you brought them into the meeting for. Do you need everyone to discuss something? Do you need to take a vote? Do you need to brainstorm? Each of those requires different sorts of tools. You might need whiteboards. You might need to make sure that everybody has read something. You might just need to build in 10 minutes at the top of the meeting for them to read this memo that you know they're not going to get to ahead of time. But understanding based on your agenda, right? What are we doing? What problem are we trying to solve? Then you can think about, how am I going to elicit the opinions of all of these people? And so really thinking about how to spend that time is so crucial. As the host, the meeting facilitator, whatever it is, your job is partly putting up fences and boundaries and protecting the goal of the meeting. And by inviting extra people in this sort of misplaced desire to include everyone, you end up disrupting the real point. And it makes the core group that belongs there, it disrupts their ability to actually get things accomplished.